Hello there. Nice slice here, coming at you from the Great White North in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Today being Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a 2 for Tuesday video. And that is an open tag created by our friend Tom over at Knife Delights. An awesome channel. If you haven't subscribed to Tom, please do so. Check out his stuff. He has a lot of knowledge over there. And when he's teaching us about history, the history of knives, and just history in general, I call it getting an education from Tom. So we'll just put that there. And so today we're looking at a buck 103. This is a 103 Skinner, part of the 100 series. Now these I could have done a way back Wednesday because this is an older knife, but I thought I'd do a 2 for Tuesday. As you can see, this is the old pistol style sheath on this. There's script, fancy writing, says buck across there. There's buck on the snap. 103 pressed into the leather. You can see quality leather goods as usual from Buck. Let's have a look at the knife here. So you can see this has had some use, this one. You can see on the tang stamp on this one, it says Buck 103 USA. There is no date stamp beside the model number. That means that this particular knife was manufactured in the years between 72 and 86. Quite a long run for that particular tang stamp. It was 86 that they started putting the date stamp on there. Another bit of knowledge learned from Mr. Tom over at Knife Delights. So you can see this is a very purpose-built blade style. The big belly for skinning. Not a super acute point on that. There is a point on it, but not like the buck clip point or even a drop point. You can see the nice satin finish. Pretty thick blade stock on that. This, of course, is the black phenolic, the aluminum pommel, aluminum guard. But this does have double spacers. Not like the modern 100 series where it's just a single spacer and then you have your aluminum guard. You can see there. And again here, the double spacers. Those are micarta. This knife is in really good shape. I just picked this one up last week. I saw it listed on Craigslist. The fellow was asking 20 Canadian dollars. So I said, I'm in. Called him up, went and met with him, shot him a $20 bill and came home with this knife. Pretty happy about it. Does have an engraving on the blade. Someone named Jerry with the G and a date of June 19th, 1991. So I'm assuming this knife was a gift for some reason or other. Now the fellow who sold it to me did say it belonged to a friend of his who had passed away, unfortunately, and he himself did not have any use for the knife, so that's why he decided to sell it at such a reduced price. But as you can see, this is Buck's hollow grind, but it's not like the modern hollow grind. It's a more, I want to call this like a dugout instead of a hollow grind. I want to call this one a dugout, because you can see when the light catches it, it goes from thick spine to where it's hollowed out, and then it gets thick again right before the edge. Now the bevel on this is more of an apple seed edge, convex edge on this. There's not really a secondary bevel there, maybe slightly. I did this run this over my diamond sharpener very quickly because it was dull. And I brought that edge back just a few passes, but you can see it's in excellent shape. I just love that old satin finish. Let you have a good look at this pommel. There is a bit of a ding there. This knife definitely has had some use, as you can see by the sheath. A little bit of wear and tear on there for sure. Doesn't look like it spent too much time on a belt, but it has been worn on a belt. You can tell just by the shape of that belt loop and the condition. Now I did put some of Last Chance Knives leather conditioner on here, soften it up because it was quite stiff. The inside, this was all wrinkled, but that conditioner brought it back very well. I'm pretty happy with that. So that leads me to my second Buck 103. This I went to a Historical Arms and Collectors Society show. We just call it HACS, H-A-C-S. And they have a big annual 2-day event out in Chilliwack. I try and get there every year. I usually go on the Sunday because all the vendors don't want to take anything home with them, and they're more likely to give you a deal if you purchase their products. So you can see this is quite different than a modern buck box. Famous for holding an edge. That's what the motto is here. And here it has the anvil, or sorry, the hammer and the bolt. The other side just merely says buck, the bottom. So I will point out that there's a price tag on this knife. I would imagine this was the original retail price at somebody's store for $12. Let's have a look what I saw in the box when I opened it up. I saw a pristine sheath. Look at that. The white dye is still in the 103. There is hardly a nick on this sheath. We'll just hold it up compared to this one. You can see the difference there. This one still has the metal cover on the snap. This one is long gone. You can see what I mean about that belt loop. This is basically original condition. And then when I opened it up, I saw this. Just give that a bit of a wipe. This needed a little bit of wiping down when I got it, but as you can see, this just says Buck USA. And that tang stamp is from 1967 to 1972. So potentially, at the very least, this knife is older than I am by 1 year and as many as 5 years. And this thing is in mint. So you can see what I mean about the hollow grind looking more like a dugout compared to a modern buck hollow grind. So here's the tang stamp. So these are consecutive production, right? This one is 67 to 72. This one is 72 to 86. So I've heard it said that this is the inverted tang stamp. But if it came first, wouldn't this be the inverted tang stamp? Just a question. And I'll tell you why I think they did it this way. When the knife is in its sheath, you go, hey, what model do I got there? Oh yeah. Oh, that's the year it was made. There's the tank stamp. Just put it back in, right? That's just my thought on it. So again, it's got the double spacer with the aluminum pommel, and the aluminum guard. And you can see the micarta is stepped on this one. Hopefully you can pick that up. See what I'm talking about there? There it is. There's a good shot of it. You can see that is stepped, unlike this one, where it just comes straight out to the edge of the guard. And you can really see the red in the micarta in this one. Get a good look at it there. I think that's just fantastic. There's the double spacer again on the pommel. And this knife is mint. Now this was the first table I walked up to. When I went to the show, you walk in through the front entrance and there was a table to my right hand side. First one I looked at, and I see this. There was an asking price of 75 Canadian dollars. And like I said, I go on the Sunday hoping that vendors will be willing to make a deal. And I offered the fellow 50 Canadian dollars for this knife, and he didn't even hesitate. He says, "Done. Take it home, sir." And I said, "I will do that." And it wasn't until I got home, I'm looking at it, so here's the original tissue paper. And then what do I find underneath that? Use and care of your buck knife. And it gives you some pointers on how to sharpen it. Has your guarantee registration. Has the address of El Cajon, California. I believe it was 1995. I may be wrong on that. That's when they moved to Idaho. But here's my favorite part right here. Needless to say, buck knives are valuable equipment and sometimes have a habit of walking away. Be careful where you lay it down and to whom you loan it. Good advice, Mr. Buck. So I'm very happy to find that. So of course these are both the 103 Skinner. And I just want to compare it to a modern. I don't have another 103. I did have the Brass and Coca-Cola, but I sold that one in the interest of money. So here is the 113 Ranger Skinner. And you can see a much different blade shape, thinner stock. And the modern hollow grind, you can see what I mean. This one is hollow ground, but it gets very thin right to the edge. And you can see that secondary bevel down there, that actual edge bevel. Quite a different design from this older knife. I did bring along my 192 because this is basically an all-purpose hunting knife, again with the hollow grind and the big belly for skinning. And I brought one more. This is my 392 Omni. This is the Hunter, the Omni Hunter, and it has a very tall blade, big belly on this one as well, great for skinning. And there again, that's that modern hollow grind. You can see the difference there. So this is my 2 for Tuesday. 1967 to 72, 103 Skinner. 1972 to 1986, 103 Skinner. There you have it.